Welcome to the Business Behind the Scene podcast with Francesca Moi, where we talk all about real business problems, real solutions, and getting actual results in your business. Hello, my dear friends from Business Behind the Scene. There's nothing better than a conversation between two successful business owners. Between Arthur, my client Arthur, and I, there is over 30 years of experience in business. And I've interviewed in one of my group, the Workshop Seeker for Coaches and Experts, and I thought, oh my gosh, you guys need to hear this. So I am sharing how Arthur has literally doubled the business by using my strategies, and he joined the academy, the Sold Out Business Academy, when the business was already super successful and already in business for 20 years. So we can show you how to scale your business even when you've already been around for a while. Arthur is an amazing coach. He's got the skills, is terrific at what it does, and is going to show you how and what happened since he joined the academy and how you can do that too. So go and enjoy this amazing interview. I promise you, you're going to love it. It's also live inside of the group, but I thought to just put it in here so you guys can listen to it while you're walking, while you're driving, whatever that is, right? Enjoy it. Hello, and welcome everybody. Welcome to Workshop Secret for Coaches and Experts. I am truly excited to be here today. I've got a super special guest for all of you guys. I know many of you are watching the replay. So if you are watching the replay right now, thank you for watching. Stay until the end because we're going to cover some amazing gold nuggets. But also tell us in the comments right now that you're watching as a replay so that we can come and say hi to you. And thank you for watching this. Now, if you're watching live, tell us exactly what are you watching from. We want to know what city you're watching from. We've got people from all over the world in this amazing group. We are reaching the 11,000 people, which is super exciting. There's a couple of new changes in the group that I wanted to announce for everybody before I introduce this amazing speaker and that we have today. Hey, Jono, good to see you here. We have new hashtags that you guys can use to promote your business, to talk about your events, to talk about what's happening in your life, in your business, so that you can create connections, because business, it's all about connections. So follow those hashtags. They're in the cover photo at the top of this group. So check them out and use them to really build that trust with other people in the group. So you might get good connection, good collaborations, good speaking engagements, or even good clients. You never know. All right, everybody. I am so privileged to be able to announce to you a speaker that we have today. I've met this gentleman probably about years ago, but we've been following each other on social media for a while, and then eventually we jump on a call, and I was really impressed by the genuinity of this man. And the business, a lot of business owners, they're in their heads, they run the business in ego. I'm guilty of that at the beginning of my business for sure. And when I met Arthur, I really was impressed, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I finally found someone that I could see myself collaborating with, because it's very genuine and it runs the business from a heart perspective, from wanting to help people and support people, obviously while making money, because it's really important. If not, we don't have a business, right? We have a hobby. But what I see is that there is the genuine wanting to help people, which I love that. So I would love for you guys to get to meet Arthur the way that I know him, not the way that we sometimes perceive ourselves on social media. We wanted to get to know the real Arthur in these next 30 minutes, so that you guys can get to know him as much as I know him. So everybody, welcome Arthur Bablis.
Thank you so much, Francesca. Geez, the real Arthur in 30 minutes. We only have 30 minutes? Oh my God. Thank you so much for the introduction. It's a pleasure being here, pleasure, serving your community workshop secrets and for coaches, and obviously, your Sold Out Business Academy. Things changed me the last 3 or 4 months just being part of it. So I'm sure we'll talk about that today.
Sure. Now, first and foremost, Arthur, tell everybody, I don't even know your business journey. Let's go there. How did Arthur get into business? What happened?
Oh my God. Okay, look, you did 30 minutes? Is that what we've got, 30 minutes? I mean, is this, look, how do I get in business? Right now, really, our business is, as you can see, all the banner behind me, MBX Institute. We train coaches, therapists, practitioners, and healers. And more importantly, I see what's happening in the marketplace today, and there's a lot of people out there who are mindset coaches, and they're the coach's coach. And you know what? There's very few, if any, people who coach the coaches to improve their skills. So really, you know what? We're the coach's skill set coach. And every coach needs a skill set coach. right? Like you think about a sporting team, you got an attacking coach, you got a defensive coach, you got different coaches for different skills.
Yeah.
And so you know what? You're the business coach. That's why I'm here in your Sold Out Business Academy, right? In the Business Academy, you get mindset stuff. You get mindset stuff with any other coach as well too. But that is just saturated with people who've done a weekend workshop and now they're mindset coaches and their lives are still crumbling. And so they're not necessarily coming from integrity themselves. But how many people are really saying, you know what? If you're serious about making a difference, what are you doing to sharpen the sword? What are you doing to master your craft? What are you doing to become best in the world at what it is that you do? Because mastery takes time. Mastery takes patience. Mastery is you dealing with the ups and downs, not only of being in your own business, and that's where the business mindset comes in, right? To be able to deal with the emotional roller coaster that we talked about before, but also you committing to actually improving your craft. And you know, I always say if you had your son or daughter or your child needed to have a neurosurgery, who would you take them to? If they needed a heart surgery, who would you take them to? Because the work we do on mindsets is neurosurgery. The work we do with emotions and the heart is heart surgery. And people just take that, in my opinion, over the 25, 30 years in my experience now, for granted. And I was one that took that. You know, you mentioned before, you know, sometimes we come from a space of ego. Well, I've been on that mountain, right? And I know you know what it's like. It's as quick as you get on that mountain, you quickly fall down that mountain.
Oh, yes.
But I think that's part of the journey of a seasoned entrepreneur. And it's not just entrepreneur, it's like a seasoned person with life. Right? We don't get it, right? I remember my parents used to say to me, you know, one day you'll be knocking your head on the wall, you know, one day you'll get it. It's like, yeah, we're young, we get into that, you know, I know everything, I can do everything my way. It's what my son's doing to me now. You know, he's 23 and he's doing the same thing I did, right?
And you tell him you'll know one day, right?
And I'm hearing my dad in me, you know, and I thought, you know, I sat back and thought, you know what? Okay, so obviously still stuff I need to work with as an individual because that reflects in my business too. A lot of the things I do in business that come from my dad, who was an entrepreneur that came from Greece and started businesses. Yeah, so there's a huge story. I mean, I can tell it here because it's about taking chances and taking risks, right? I'll get to it, right? And okay, we'll digress. Let me tell you his story. Right. So my dad was about 16 when he lived in a village in Greece up north, and he went to the city to work to actually send money back to his family, like, you know, the old wogs did, right?
Yes.
So he was the oldest of the siblings and was sending money back to his family. And then he thought, you know, as 18, he wants to create a whole new life outside of Greece. So he went to a friend of his that was, you know, his friends who are on the corner that sell stuff, right? So this friend was giving away or organising papers to go overseas, like immigration papers. Oh. So my dad had a choice to go to America, South Africa, or Australia. So the man put the papers on the floor, and my dad said, I'm going to throw a rock, and whatever the rock lands on.
No way.
Right? And the rock landed on Australia, and he came to Australia. And I thought, wow, you know, it takes someone, you know, a quick decision, the best decision, no matter how you do it, but then sticking to it, without actually getting caught up in your head. And I see so many businessmen, I've been caught up in my head so many times trying to justify what I did or didn't do, as opposed to going with my heart and going with my gut, because that's always the best indicator, right? And so that was one thing. And then when he got married to my mum in Melbourne, and there's a whole story there in terms of how they got married. And, you know, I was born in Melbourne, so Greece. So I'm Greek. Right? Melbourne's the second largest Greek city, right? Outside of Melbourne, right? And I was about 4.5, and my dad had a huge business. He had a bakery, like all Greeks do. It was quite large, like 10 vans, runs and everything, and was doing really well. But he brought all his family over from Greece, his cousins, his brothers and sisters, his parents.
Oh, wow.
And my dad's the type of person, I know where myself and my brother gets that, he just gave and gave and gave and gave. And he never had the systems in the back end to look after things. Where did I get that from, right? And he went bust. He went bankrupt. And he said, you know what, stuff it, because he was giving to everything. He went bankrupt. I was 4.5.
How old were you when your dad went bankrupt?
4.5. And what he did was this. All he had was a gold watch. This is the story, right? A gold watch, his prize watch. It was 1969. He went into Chrysler, the car dealership, and put his gold watch as a down payment on a brand new, now he's broke, he's only got a watch, he puts a down payment on a brand new custom line Valiant. Yes, we had a Valiant, right?
Okay.
And he drove his family from Melbourne on the old highway to Sydney to start a whole new life in a brand new car. And then, yeah, started working hard, you know, greengrocer, delicatessen, fashion maker, and created what he created. But, you know, it's interesting because when...
So you didn't give up?
He didn't give up. Now, here's the other... It was about 2 or 3 months in, and he was struggling with my mum. And we remember we were kids. He'd take us to this park. We'd go and get some dinner, and we'd go to this park and run around. I've got these memories of running in between trees. I'm around 4.5, 5 years of age. And they didn't know whether they'd go back to Melbourne or stay in Sydney. So he said to my mum, let's ask the kids. So there's 4 of us, right? So he picked up a rock, put it behind his hands, and had the rock in one hand. He said, if you pick the rock, we go to Melbourne, or stay in Sydney. If you don't pick the rock, we go to Melbourne. And he went to each of myself, my brother, my 2 sisters, separately, and we all picked a hand to stay in Sydney.
Oh, wow.
So he stayed in Sydney. So again, leaving things not necessarily up to chance, but to signs. These are signs from the universe, right? But sometimes we neglect them. You know, some people see a sign and say, "Oh, that's a sign for me not to do something."
Yes.
And that obstacle is a sign for me to go another way. Isn't it possible that that obstacle is a sign that you're on the right path? Because obstacles aren't in your way; they're on your way.
Why do we do that? Why do people think that there is an obstacle that means that I shouldn't do this? Instead of going, there's an obstacle, let's lean in and do it more. Is it fear? What do you think it is that stops us from doing that?
Yeah, I think, it's obviously everything's fear-based, right? So it's some sort of fear. Well, we all want safety, crave security and safety. It's a habitual instinct. And, you know, we're not wired from a nervous system perspective to thrive. You know, our primitive system is fight or flight, to look for danger, right? We don't look, you know, we're wired to actually keep safe. We're not wired to look for opportunities. We're wired to look for danger. And so what do we focus on an unconscious level? Danger. And so what do we get? Danger.
And so when we see danger, we the other way.
So when we see the obstacle, then we say, okay, obstacle danger, not obstacle opportunity. But is it possible that the obstacle is a sign from the universe or whatever it is that you believe, put in front of you to see how committed you are? Whether you really want something bad enough, because, you know, fortune favors the brave, fortune favors the bold, fortune favors those who actually are committed to take that chance. And if you go back and look at history of all the people that were someone, that people took a chance. People that follow their gut, people that follow their heart. It didn't just happen to them.
That's amazing, right? And if you're watching this and you're resonating with this, do you take a chance? Do you see an obstacle? Like, are you resonating with this? I would love to know where you guys are at. And if you do resonate, just say resonate in the chat. I want to see how many
what's your current obstacle? Get them to put their current obstacle in the chat. What's the obstacle in your life, in your business, in your relationship? Right?
Okay, well, there we go. What was your biggest obstacle in your business when you first started?
Yeah. And is it still there? Because if it's still there, you know, things might have changed around you, but you haven't changed. We're still doing our things. This is what I found with myself, like, you know, 25, 30 years in this field. And, you know, as I said, training, started off as a massage therapist, right? So I enrolled in a massage. Because before that, right, I was in finance and business. I had an economics degree, finance qualifications. I had a property marketing company. I had mobile phone stores. I was in Melbourne, right? I got married to in Melbourne to my ex-wife, Michelle. And like a good Greek boy, because I left Melbourne, right? When I left Sydney around 94, how old was I? About 29, went to Melbourne for 4 years, got married in Melbourne, and then came back to Sydney. And I came back to live right next door to my parents, like a good Greek boy, in the house right next door to my parents, right? We almost had the lamb and the spit in the front yard. And there's a story behind that. But when we came back to Melbourne, back to Sydney, I sold my businesses. And
what businesses did you have?
I had a property marketing business, I had a finance brokerage, and 2 mobile phone stores.
Oh, yeah, okay.
In Melbourne. And I sold them, and I rolled in a massage course. And my brother had done a lot of work with me. He's a chiropractor, does all this other, you know, wonderful personal development, health stuff. And I was quite unhealthy then and became healthy. And I thought, you know, I want to be able to get in this industry like we all do. We all come in this field because we've had a healing ourselves. right?
Yes.
We come in this field because we've had a moment that we've had an aha moment. We've gone to see a practitioner or a therapist or a coach, and we've had this transformation. Think, oh my God, there's a calling for me to do something as well. That's a rite of passage, right? And so I enrolled in a massage course. This is back in '96. Came back to Sydney '97, did my energetic healing, right? And then I thought I can heal the planet. I had evolved. I became spiritual, right? Man, I had a mullet, I had my turtleneck, I had a vest, I had crystals hanging out. Like
Oh
all
my
this
God,
stuff.
do you have
Oh,
a photo of that?
yeah, I might have to put the photo in. I was, you know the people who they have one healing and they're now just spiritual,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I'm not
I know
saying,
plenty of them.
yeah, and I'm not saying it's good or bad thing. Again, it's a rite of passage because we're stuck in the system, and we jump into another level of consciousness that we think that we've arrived, but we haven't done the work from an individual level, right?
And it's the first step, and we think it's the last step, but it's actually
Yeah.
the first step.
Yeah, correct. And then for me, so we went on this journey, you know, so from massage to energy work to NLP to hypnosis to coaching to kinesiology to Chinese medicine. Like it never stopped learning. I remember I was living next door to my mum, right? And this was now 1990. Was it 1990? No. No, 1999, so 2000.
1999, yeah.
2000. And, you know, I'd gone back to college and studying and uni and everything else. And my mum said to me, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm studying. You like us going to school. Look, you should be home starting a family. You're now back at school, right? It's like when I was at school, I never went to school, and they wanted to get me to school.
I know.
Now, like I'm studying from college to university, doing all the stuff that I love. No, go and start a family. You know what I mean? So it was quite interesting, the flip that happened there. And then from there, you know, being in this field. So when I look at, you know, my history in the last 25, 30 years, it's like this is my present life, right? And before that, it's my past life. So I've got my past life story and my present life. And I mean, the stories within the present life, because I know when I first got into this field, like everyone, we want to be able to make change. We hop on this high horse. We have this sense of confidence, which at a core, I think, is false sense of confidence. It's being hubris. We think we can do anything. We're untouchable, right? Our modality is the best modality. I can heal the planet. And all the other things that people do aren't as good as me.
No,
right?
yeah.
And I don't need to do any more because I've done enough.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like that too, right? It's like, you know, but it's like, yeah, you can build something from your passion, as you say, but then when you get to a point, you think, okay, well, what's going to sustain the business? And for me, the passion kept on sustaining the business, and I was basically a one-man band for 25 years. I had people that came to help and support me. We grew closer, and then I did something to sabotage it. You know,
Did you?
we grew closer, and I did something to sabotage it. And you know where the sabotage was, Francesca?
What
I had a
was it?
belief that was running. My dad had always told my brother and myself, because he went bankrupt, right? He said, never trust anyone in business.
Uh-huh.
Now, how's that belief going to get you to where you want to go today?
Wow. So you had a business partner, and you
Well,
had this
I'd have people come in to work with me and potentially
Okay.
become partners.
Yeah.
And, you know, train them up, and it's almost like, you know, yeah, and then suddenly, you know what? Something happens. Well, what happened? I happened. I got in the way.
Hi, happened. I sabotaged it. Wow.
Well, how many other people sabotage your own success or their own journey?
I've done it.
Yeah, because they haven't dealt with stuff from the past. And it wasn't until I looked at that myself. And you know what? You keep on saying that you're 100% correct, that your business is a 3D printout of your thoughts. Well, it's not just your business, right? Your life is a 3D print of your thoughts.
Your body.
Your body, your relationships. And so
Yes.
whatever was happening in my business, well, how was it happening in my relationships too? And I didn't, you know, it's sort of, I'm in this field, right? I'm supposed to know it. I'm the communication guy. How can this happen to me, right? And then, you know, I just, you know, blind spot, right? I didn't see what was going on in my relationship, not only with my personal estate, with my ex-wife, but also with my friends and people around me. And the patterns were the same. When you take a bird's eye view, it's like, you know, how you do one thing is how you do everything. You don't separate your business and your personal life. And I see that, and I say there's so much humility and love. I see you've got such a wonderful group in your Sold Out Business Academy. So many people have got a vision, a purpose. They want to make a difference. And they'll say, they're in the room. I say, I'm the person in my way. Everyone says that I'm the person in my way.
Yeah.
But you know what? They're not actually acknowledging what's in the way, and they're not doing the work. All right. And for me, it's just timing. All right. You got to trust the process. right? What I've learnt with you, like being in this academy, is like, you got to slow down and speed up.
And this is something that Arthur, I used to hate this phrase with a passion until I accepted it and I slowed down to go faster. And it actually did happen.
Yeah. And what helped me slow down is actually putting all the things that my dad never had, because that was another pattern. My dad never had the administration in his business organized. That's why he went bankrupt. He put passion in his work. He loved what he did. You know, he was a people pleaser. People loved my dad. He had the gold tooth. He'd smile with a gold tooth. He'd go out dancing, breaking plates. Everyone wanted to go out with my dad. He was the extrovert from there, right? But things had to be done his way. He was on his own mountain. Very hard for him to put his hand up for help. And that's what I got. And until I looked at that and said, you know what? How's this affecting? You know, I didn't want to lose that because I'd lose that connection with my dad. But there's so many other wonderful things I can stay connected with him, right?
Without sabotaging ourselves, right?
That's right. What may have worked or supported us when we were younger may not necessarily support us, work for us now. My mum kept saying things change, and they do. Things change, right?
Thank goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine if they stayed the same.
I know.
And so,
it's like when people tell you, you have changed. It's like, yeah, thank goodness that I have.
And for me, I realize every time things are going well for my business and doing great, and we're fortunate we've done well, and it's the passion, I think, that keeps it going. What stopped it going to the next level is what my dad never had was the systems and procedures and processes which I never put in place. I thought I had this. And you know what? I could do it all myself because I knew it all, right? Right? I never put my hand up for help. And I see a lot of people in your academy as well. They're there for help, but they're not putting their hand up for help.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. When you're there for help, you're there for help, because you know what? Why did I join your academy? Because you're right. I remember seeing you about 7 years ago when you first hit the social media scene. I thought, who's this crazy lady? What is she now?
And exactly what did I know back then? Probably not much.
But you know what? But your passion kept you moving forward. You were getting results. And then, hold on a second, what's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on here? And earlier on this year, you know, you put a post out that you're having a live event. Who wants a free ticket? Hop on a call. The rest is history. But you know what? We had that chat in the call. And then that call, you know, you made me realize some of these things I'm talking about now, that, you know, for things to change, I have to change. I can't keep doing the same things. So what's missing? And so you helped me uncover, where you asked the questions, what was missing in my business, because that was missing in your business. And that's what you've mastered, to help other people put in their business, right? And it was the systems and the procedures. And, you know, for me, over the last 3 months, not only have we had a great opportunity to build a great connection with you and the team and everything else, you know, we're putting a team in place. Like, we're about to take on a third VA next week, right? Do I have the work for them? Not yet. You know, we'll create it. I was telling the two of them yesterday, don't worry about it. We're here. We're committed, because we want to put energy into creating something in the future. We're not looking at this obstacle as it's not going to work. We're looking at this is the obstacle that's going to take us to the next level, all of us. So we're growing together. So, you know, what do we need to do to actually fill up our diary? What do we need to do to actually create the inquiries and follow your systems, follow the procedures? Because you know what? It works. Right? And so for me, the last 3 or 4 months, I've seen things that we're putting in the back office that I've never had before. Now, I beat myself up sometimes because it's not happening fast enough, because we all want things today, right?
Yesterday, don't we?
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, all right, yesterday. But we forget the little things that we do every day, right? Are the big things. And it's interesting because, you know, you read a book and it's not until maybe the second, third or fourth time that you get it, right? I did a book review the other day and it just blew my mind. And I want to share with you, because the book was Atomic Habits, right, by James Clear. Okay. Right? And it's exactly what your business is about. And I want to read this, right? Because for me, this is what I've gotten out of your business and what I think everyone else needs to understand to be able to help them grow their business. It's a quote from the book. If you're having trouble changing your habits, because if your business isn't growing, it's your habits, right? It's the stuff that you're not necessarily doing, it's the stuff that you're not doing, right? Yeah. The problem isn't you. The problem is your system. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong system for change. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
Wow. Drop
And
the
you know
mic.
what? That is the Navy SEAL philosophy, right? When they train Navy SEALs, they put them in situations where they never ever thought they'd ever experience. So when they're in battle, if that happens, they know how to handle it. A Navy SEAL knows that you never fall, you never rise to the opportunity, you never rise to the challenge, you fall back to your last training. You fall back to your last system. And I'm realizing with you now, I'm putting something in place to fall back on, to the last system. So that's the training, right? And what happened? I was able to go overseas, 6 weeks ago with my kids for about 4 or 5 weeks. And even though we just started, we had some sort of system in place where things kept on ticking over.
Yeah.
And where over COVID, where I thought our business was, where everyone's slowing down, suddenly, it's picked up. We've almost doubled our business what we did in COVID last year in the 3 or 4 months with you. And I'm more excited about the possibilities now in the future than what I was when I first started 30 years ago in this business.
Wow, that's so good.
Because my mindset now is I'm starting from scratch. But I've got so much experience now and such a platform to build on.
But Arthur, this is the thing that I was saying before, right? Like you're willing, and I would like to explore that a little bit more before the people that are watching, because I have had many chats with business owners that need help, and the approach is, I need help and I'm gonna prove it that I can do it all by myself. And I have had that in my own business, and I had to get over myself to be able to ask for help. And you are doing that now. Like when we first started working together, I was like, wait a minute, this man has been in business for 25 years. What can I teach you? I've only been in business for 7. How can I help and support? Right? So there was that my self-doubt in that as well. But then I wanna ask you, like, how do you do that? How did you manage to go, I'm starting from scratch, and not having your ego going, do you know who I am?
It's a good question. Well, the 3 areas I believe that everyone needs to master to create impact and to rise up as a leader and to be able to express their soul and spirit. It's self-mastery. You've got to master yourself first. No matter what you do in life, whether you want to be a mum, an engineer, an accountant, a solicitor, you've got to master yourself. You've got to become the person that inspires other people to change, right? And to help them have a better quality of life. The second is your craft mastery. When I say craft mastery is, once you've mastered yourself, what's the one thing that lights you up? What's the one thing that makes you get up every morning? What's the one thing that when you focus on, that you love to do? It's not work, it's just something you love to do, and time just disappears, right? Because a lot of people are doing things that they don't love to do. They haven't stopped to think about what actually lights them up, right? Or they're scared to face that. And so people only do that if they do the self-mastery, if they do the work, right? They can then connect to their North Star, what their magic is, what their signature is, what's their profession. If you want to be an accountant and you love the numbers, awesome. Be the best in the world as an accountant. Be one that does his business or her business in a whole different way, right? And then once you find that, the next is actually, well, how do you get that message out? You need to run a business. Otherwise, you're working for someone else. The only way to create something in the world is for you to become an entrepreneur. That's the evolution of the spirit, right? Tony Robbins says that business is a spiritual game because it's through becoming an entrepreneur that you connect to your high levels of consciousness. And I think to answer your question then, I look back at my journey of 25 years in being in business and also have this business mindset from my dad. It's the ups and downs. It's the losses, not the wins, that have made me who I am today. Because it's through the losses that you reflect. It's me judging myself, fine, but you got to do the inner work. You got to face the demons. You got to actually say, you know what? If you're going to stand up and make a difference, you're going to either keep on doing what you've been doing, or is it time to change? And I don't know, it's just something, like it's soul work, it's inner work. I think you can't, you probably can, but what type of business is, I don't want to make a generalization, but imagine having a business where you're creating impact and you've done that soul work and you're connecting with people, as opposed to having a business that creates impact, but you're not connecting with people. What type of business is that?
It's not a business. Business about people, right?
And I've done that before, but there was no connection. So
Yeah.
what comes first? And that only happens when, it's the hero's journey or the heroine's journey by Joseph Campbell, right? We all go through it. We're all going to have to go through the winter of our life, go into the void, go into the self-discovery, into the dark side for us to find out more about ourselves. And then we have to make a decision. Is this who you want to be or not? Because you want to make a difference, you've got to rise above it. We never get rid of our demons, in my belief, Francesca. People attempt to get rid of the darkness. But you know what? The only reason darkness exists is to allow a light shine. Light doesn't shine anywhere else other than in darkness. So unless you've gone through darkness, you can't connect to your light. And everyone's got their own story. I'm not taking anyone's story away from them. But when I look back and I think of the story, especially for the last 4 or 5 years for me, right, with both my parents passing away and my marriage falling apart. And, at that time I thought it fell apart. It didn't fall apart. It just got to where it needed to get to for the next evolution of our conscience, for myself and for my ex-wife and for my kids. But the more I kept on pointing the finger, the more I'm going to create the same pattern. And it took work. It took me a lot of walks in the morning. I'm blessed I'm here in Cronulla, right? Right on the beach. We're going to do that to the beach, right? I go for a walk every morning. I go watch the sunrise every morning. And my brother was here the other day and we're sitting on the veranda outside there and he said, you know what? Cronulla saved your life. I said, I think it did. Because there's something when you walk on long water and you get the negative ions and you catch the sunrise every morning, you know what? Life continues. Life continues. And it might be cloudy, but guess what? The sun's still there. The sun's not there. But people focus on the clouds as opposed to focusing on the small rays that come through the clouds.
That is always there.
It's always
So
there.
true.
It always rises, no matter what.
And we just gotta keep reminding that, and it's just so difficult at time, right? When you're in business or in relationships and everything seems so dark, seems so it seems the light is not there, but you're so right. The light is always there. If we focus on that, maybe we see more light, isn't it?
Yeah. And really, getting back to again what we were saying before, and really the value that you give with your academy is the two things that helped me change my business in the last 3 months or so, 4 months, is the systems and the procedures. Because you can always fall back to them to keep you moving forward. We also have systems in our life. We've got procedures in our life. You know what they are? They're our values. They're our operating system. A lot of people don't know what the values are. They don't know what's important to them. And so they go through life without a checklist. They're hoping to get something. They hope to find the right partner. They hope to find the right opportunity. They hope to actually, here comes something, here comes someone, maybe this will work, and they don't know, and it's like driving through an orange light. There's the metaphor, right? So what potentially can happen when you drive through an orange light? You know what people are thinking when they go through an orange light? I hope I get to the other side. Hope no one hits me. Guess what they're focusing on? They're going to get sideswiped. But what if you knew exactly what was important to you in business, in your life, in your relationships? It's driving through green lights.
So true. And if you do meet a red light, you just stop and accept that it's part of the journey.
Exactly. And say, okay, hey, time to, refresh, time to say, okay, take a breather. What's working, what's not working. But see, here's the thing. Without the systems and procedures, you can't stop.
Because you don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, you're chasing your tail. It's like, you said something in the training the other day I wrote down, right? I take notes. I've got it on my thing. Any task that you need to repeat, right, you can, and more than once, you can delegate to a virtual assistant.
Has to be delegated, yeah.
And you said what you do with your clients first up. And what we did is write down everything you do every day, right? And how long it took you. Then you realize how many things you repeat and how long it takes you. And you start thinking, okay, what's my time worth to me? What if I had a virtual assistant? Can I do that work and actually open up more time? And then, the journaling is huge, because not only do we become aware of the actions, we also become aware of the reasons and the emotions behind why we do the actions, what it means for us. And so you can't run away from that then, right? Either you keep on doing the same stuff or you change it.
That is gold. Arthur, I would just keep going. Like, this is bloody
I know.
amazing. And I love chatting with you, and I'm very excited that, we might be able to invite you again if everybody here is enjoying this as much as I am. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know me, I'm like a machine. I never go over time, and it's 5 minutes past. But
We cracked you, yes. Oh my God, I'm the one that got Francesca going 6 minutes over now.
You did it. It was just absolutely amazing. And I just love, I love, this is what exactly is my biggest value, is to be able to connect with people and to understand what drives them and what gets them to who they are now, because you were absolutely spot on. And I needed to hear that today. And I hope that you guys watching this, you need to hear some of the gold nuggets that Arthur shared with us today. So if you do love it, just say, love it. I want to see how many of you loved absolutely today. I absolutely love it. So thank you so much for your time, Arthur. And I think we're going to invite you back. I think this is going to be a recurring thing. If you guys love it and you would like Arthur back, just say, come back. We're going to see how many people would love you back. And it's going to be really exciting to have you back. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Pleasure being here, and I'm happy to come back anytime to serve the community, because, it's like we've said everything we said, but this is not possible without the environment that you're creating, Francesca, not only in this group, but also in your Sold Out Business Academy. And that's why people come and join, because of the environment. And we become our environments. And I think that's why you get the results.
I appreciate it. Arthur, how can people find you? If there's a coach here and needs to be upskilled, how do they find you? How do they work with you?
Thanks for that. They can go to our Facebook group that you helped us to put together. So even similar name, right? World Class Mindset and Coaching Secrets.
Beautiful.
Well, so they can find us there, and we come. In fact, I'm going there live today at 12:30, and we're talking about the 3 things a coach needs to focus on.
Oh, perfect.
To create impact, and the 5 C's of coaching, so they can improve their process.
Ooh. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Arthur. Again, one more time. Everybody, give it
Thank
up for Arthur. Thank you. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, then you have to come to check out our Facebook group, Workshop Secrets for Coaches. It's a community of over 9,500 coaches that are ready to boom their business by running workshops. They are stuck in one-on-one coaching, and they're ready to start to go one-to-many. So if you are one of those coaches, then you have to join us. I look forward to see you there. And hey, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave me a review to win a ticket to one of my workshops. I look forward to see you there.